Welcome to another Obscure Asian Story. We're going to be diving into the history books and taking a look at one of the craziest animal attacks of all time, particularly the Sankebetsu brown bear incident, known as the worst bear attack in Japanese history. This tale has all the makings of a classic horror movie: a bloodthirsty bear with a taste for human flesh, a retired hunter with a drinking problem, a frantic chase through a blinding snowstorm, and a decades-long quest for revenge. In the winter of 1915, the small village of Sankebetsu in Hokkaido was rocked by a terrifying event. Over the course of 6 days, a rampaging bear attacked several households, killing 9 people and injuring 3 more. At that time, Hokkaido was still a wild and untamed land, with vast stretches of untouched nature and few human settlements. And in those forests roamed some truly fearsome creatures, including the formidable Usuri brown bear. The first encounter with the bear occurred at dawn in mid-November when it appeared at the Ikeda family's home. The bear fled after taking only harvested corn, but its presence prompted the head of the Ikeda family to call on his second son and 2 hunters from a neighboring village for help. When the bear reappeared on the 30th of November, they managed to land a shot but failed to kill it. The next morning, they followed the bear's footprints towards Mount Onishika and discovered bloodstains along the trail. However, a snowstorm forced them to turn back. They believed that the bear, having been injured, would now fear humans and would no longer raid settlements, but they were gravely mistaken. As it turned out, the bear was a notorious figure in the region. It was a massive Usuri brown bear, a subspecies native to East Asia, weighing over 340 kilograms and standing over 2.7 meters tall. Unusually large and aggressive even for its kind, the bear would strike without warning, often in broad daylight, killing its victims with a single blow before feasting on their bodies. In the years leading up to the incident, it had already claimed several lives in other villages and became known as a man-eater. For a lack of better words, this bear was like a bloodthirsty grizzly on steroids, having seemingly failed to hibernate properly and was now driven by an insatiable hunger for human flesh. The attacks began on the morning of December 9, 1915, when the bear descended upon the Ota's family's home. During the attack, it killed the youngest daughter and dragged the mother into the forest to devour her. When her husband returned home to find a trail of destruction, his wife missing, and large bundles of blood on the floor, he organized a search party to track down the bear, but all they found were human remains. The next day, the bear returned to the Ota farm and attacked again. The villagers, anticipating this, tried to ambush it at the Ota's family's home. But after only one shot hit the bear, it retreated to a neighboring farm. There, at the Miyuki household, 2 children and a pregnant woman were killed. The bear had also eaten some of the food that the family had stored for the winter. The villagers were now in a state of panic. They didn't know where the bear would strike next or how to stop it. The now widowed husband of the Miyuki family asked for help from Yamamoto Heikichi, a famous bear hunter, but Yamamoto had already pawned his guns for money to buy alcohol, even though he recognized the attack patterns and identified the bear as Kesagake, a notorious man-eater that had terrorized other villages in the area. Yamamoto refused to help. On December 11, 1915, the villagers staked out the Miyuki family's home in hopes of ambushing Kesagake once again, but the night passed without incident. By December 12, the news of the bear's rampage had reached the Hokkaido government office, and a sniper team was quickly assembled. Guns and volunteers were gathered from nearby towns, and among them one man that has changed his mind: Yamamoto Heikichi. On December 13th, a search team discovered that the Ota's family's home had been ransacked by Kesagake once again. The bear had eaten the villagers' winter food stockpile and damaged at least 8 houses in the neighborhood. Despite their efforts, the troops were powerless against the seemingly unstoppable bear. But the snipers team's captain refused to give up, motivating his men to continue hunting in the surrounding mountains. That night, a sniper at a bridge thought he saw something moving in the shadows of the tree stumps on the opposite shore and opened fire. But the shadow disappeared into the forest. The next morning, a team investigated the opposite shore and found a bear's footprint and blood. Yamamoto and a friend set out after the bear and successfully tracked it down. Approaching to within 20 meters of the beast, Yamamoto took aim and fired twice, hitting the bear in the head and heart. The devil of Sankebetsu has finally met its end. Its body was taken to the village and put on display. The villagers were relieved that the bear was finally dead, but they were also deeply saddened by the loss of so many lives. The Sankebetsu brown bear incident was a horrific tragedy that left lasting scars on the villagers and is still remembered today. Among them was Okawa Haruyoshi, who was 7 years old and the son of the Sankebetsu village mayor at the time of the incident. He grew up to become a prolific bear hunter, swearing an oath to kill 10 bears for every victim of the attack. By the time he reached the age of 62, he had killed 102 bears. He then retired and constructed the Bear Harm Cenotaph, a shrine where people can pray for the dead villagers. His son, Takayoshi, continued his legacy, and in 1980, after an 8-year chase, hunted down a 500-kilo brown bear. Unfortunately, much of the information regarding the Sankebetsu brown bear incident has been lost to time. What we do know has been gathered by an agriculture and forestry technical officer named Kimura Moritake. He traced the people who had lived in Sankebetsu at the time of the attacks and carefully noted their stories. However, he couldn't get a full and accurate picture of events since many of the villagers had died and the survivors were understandably uncooperative. Nonetheless, he published his account of the attacks in the early 90s as The Devil's Valley. I highly recommend his work to anyone who wants to learn more about this tragic event. So, that's the story of the Sankebetsu brown bear incident. It's a truly terrifying story, but it's also a story of survival and resilience. The villagers of Sankebetsu went through hell, but they came out the other side stronger than ever before. If you're interested in learning more about the Sankebetsu brown bear incident, I'll leave a link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching!